Hello, welcome to Switched On, Paul speaking, and today I'm delighted to bring you some of my thoughts on Rune Factory 4 Special on the Nintendo Switch, which comes from Marvelous and Exceed Games. Now this releases today in America for just under $40 and on Friday in Europe and the UK where it comes in at just under £33. Now before I get to some actual gameplay, I'm going to give you a short background to the game. And if you haven't heard of Rune Factory before, it's a spin-off from the Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons series. And this fourth entry was released on the Nintendo 3DS a good few years back. And this Switch release is now dubbed the Special Edition and features some new modes, enhanced graphics and difficulty levels, as well as a few other tweaks as well. But if you're still none the wiser, imagine a cross between Stardew Valley and Dragon Quest XI, and you're going to be getting somewhere towards the idea of what Rune Factory is all about. Now, I got my copy a few days ago from Exceed Games, so big thanks to them for allowing me to showcase the game on the channel. And whilst I've been absolutely enamoured with this game so far over the weekend, I've still only really scratched the surface of what is potentially 350 hours of gameplay that's possible in this game. The main story should only take, I say only, but it should take 50 to 60 hours to complete, which is about standard for a nice meaty JRPG. Okay, so let's get into some gameplay and my thoughts so far. So as I said in the intro, this is very much like Stardew Valley. If you've played that game before, if you keep that in your mind, you'll see a lot of similarities. As this came out first, it's obvious. I think actually Eric Barone, who's the creator of Stardew Valley, I think actually cites sort of the Story of Seasons, Harvest Moon, possibly Rune Factory as inspirations for Stardew Valley, but the inspirations are really front and centre. But anyway, you'll see that as we go along. So I've just woken up here on a new day. If I go to the calendar first, very much like Stardew Valley again. I'm probably going to be saying that a fair bit, so forgive me if I keep banging on about Stardew Valley, but that's really, the game it reminds me of so much. So here's a calendar. There's 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter, or fall and winter. And just like in Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, events happen on these circled days. So there's special events. We've had people's birthdays, cooking competition and fishing contest. Now I've been playing this for just about 10 hours and it's been slow going at the start. I won't lie, there's a lot of text to read, a lot of story to get through. But it's picking up a bit now. And as I say, I've just been absolutely addicted to it. It's just totally blown me away of how good this is. The graphics, probably a little bit on the poorer side for a Switch, but it looks nice enough. But you can definitely tell it's been ported from the 3DS. But anyway, here's your room in the castle. If I go to the farm, start off with quite a small farm. So this is the farm so far. We'll come back to that and do a little bit of farming in a minute. I'm just going to show you around the castle. This is a dragon called Ventuswill. Now, I don't want to spoil the story too much, but basically at the start of the game, you're travelling to a mystical land to deliver a magical item. A fight ensues and you end up here, almost literally landing on Ventuswill here. In this kingdom that you don't know where you are, you lose your memory and you basically have to start again from scratch. The dragon god here and the people of this little town or village or world proclaim you to be the prince that they were expecting. And as you have lost your memory and don't know any better, you just go along with the gig, even though you're not too sure yourself. And then I won't spoil what happens actually, because it's not going to be given away here in the gameplay, I don't think. So I'll leave you to discover what actually happens. But it's really quite clever and it's been an enjoyable story so far. So this is the courtyard of the castle, and here is a request box, which is a really cool idea. There's so many little cool ideas in this game that I love, and this is one of them. Every day you get requests from the box. There can be all different missions from people in the town or village, and it basically serves as a sort of a long tutorial, but still enjoyable nevertheless. So you have to, like this one here, I've not checked these yet, but you can just see raise friendship level. So the request is to raise everyone's friendship level to 1 or higher. I'll show you that in a second. Another mission here is to request harvest 3 flowers. Pretty straightforward. Harvest potatoes, and you see at the bottom there you get rewards for doing these requests as well. As I say, at the beginning of the game, a lot of these serve as kind of tutorials, so it will ask you to sort of, I don't know, water the garden, and as a reward it will give you a watering can. So that's how you get your equipment and stuff. Ship some crops. Get to that in a minute. Get rid of some monsters. There's another mission. So at the start of the game you can take 1 of these a day, and then after a little while it unlocks 2 a day, and I've just unlocked the ability to do 3 of these missions a day, which is good. At the start of the game you might feel yourself sort of running out of things to do a little bit and just going to bed early, which is fine. It's quite slow at the start, as I say, but I think now there's more of these sort of adventuring missions, and now I can do 3 of these missions a day. I think that's going to fill my time in nicely, as well as tending to the farm. It's a lot more action orientated than Stardew Valley as well, where Stardew Valley is very much focused on the farming, and you can go into the mines to get a little bit of action. This game is probably 50-50. If you head out into like the woods and the dungeons and the caves, it switches to a really nice sort of action-based combat. There's loads of weapons to unlock. Oh, just no end of stuff. I'm just bombarding you with information. Let's slow it down a bit and have a look at the farm. We've got some stuff here to harvest already. And just like in Stardew, things take different amount of times to grow. So I've been growing these toy herbs for a little while. And I like the way you can just harvest a stack of stuff here and just carry it around. Like that. Now we've got a shipping box over here, a bit like the one next to your house in Stardew. So you can just chuck stuff in there, and then at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, somebody will come and take that away and give you a load of gold. We can have a look at that. Should we chuck all these in? I don't know if we should chuck them all. Oh, what is it about? Let's chuck them all in the box. Let's open up the box and have a look. So it says there, contents picked up 8 AM, and the estimated sales value is 520 gold at the moment. So if we look inside, and you can decide what you want from your inventory to drop into the box. So we put those 8 herbs in now. And we've got all this stuff in our inventory we could chuck in as well. Got some fish here. Let's put some fish in. Apples are quite useful. But you see, we've got no end of, there's no end of materials and items and content. It's just, love games like this. It's just awesome. Let's chuck a mushroom in as well. There we go. Now, on the right hand side of the UI there, you might think the text is a little small, but there's a really cool feature. I don't know if this was in the 3DS version. I'm going to assume not, because it probably used the second screen. But basically, if you hold down the L button on the Pro Controller, zoom into the bottom panel. And if you hold down L and R, zooms into the top panel. Really useful little feature, especially if you're playing on the telly and you're a bit of a distance away. You can zoom that text right in and get a nice view of it, so that's cool. So that's the shipping box. Let's say 8 o'clock every day. Clock's up in the top bar there. Time goes quite quickly. It's almost a minute every second, I would say. So the days do tend to go pretty quickly. We had this built for us, which is a lumber and stone box. So all of our wood and stone we can chuck in there to store. This is like a little pond where you refill your watering can. And we'll have a look in this little section in a minute. Let's do a little bit of farm. We've got a little bit of stuff to attend to. So you press the L button on the controller, it brings up this really cool little quick menu at the bottom, and you can flick through the categories that are on the left there with your D-pad. So we've got weapons, magic, your tools, and then anything you're carrying in your inventory backpack, which you can expand as we go along. So let's go to our farming tools. We need the cheap sickle. There we go. We can clear up some of these weeds. Now you may see that little message that keeps popping up, the skill up. I'm going to show you that in a second. Now this fodder is quite useful, so I don't really want to sickle that. We'll come back and we'll harvest that in a second. So, skills. Press the plus button. Go into your menu. We've got the inventory. Magic over this side. These are all your slots that you can put things in, so you can get new equipment. So you've got a fetching blue bow in my hair there. Apparently because it makes you look royal, according to the info box there. What else we got? So you can equip, basically you can equip armor and clothing and stuff. Doesn't change your look every time you equip something, which is a bit of a disappointment, but most of the times it will change your look. Over on this side is what we've got in our backpack, and as I said, we can expand that at any time. And anytime you want to know more information, you can just flick through the items on the side here. It tells you how much you buy, how much you sell for, and what they actually do, if they've got any effects, all that kind of good stuff over there. Now the bar across the top, ZLZR. At the minute we're looking at our inventory. If we go across, these are our skills. Now in Rune Factory, you basically get skills for every single thing you do. So you can see here we've got skills for using a longsword, a spear, axe, a fist, fire, water, earth, wind magic, light and dark magic, love level. And again, anytime you can just zoom in the panel on the right hand side there and see what these skills mean. Farming, logging, you know, basically everything you do in the game, even walking, sleeping, there's eating as well, eating. So anytime you're doing something, you're earning XP for something all the time and leveling up. And as I say, if you're just keeping on the panel here, it tells you what leveling up will do. Sometimes it'll unlock stuff. Sometimes, like the fighting XP with the weapons here, when you level up certain times, you get extra moves. You start with a very basic sort of just hammer and wire combo. Oh, it's B actually, B button in Rune Factory. But hammering B to do combos, and then after a while, another button will open up that you can use for an extra attack, and then you can combo those attacks with dashing and that kind of thing. So really worth leveling everything up. Let's tab across. Recipes that I've learned. You can party up with members as well. Maybe get to that later. These are the friendship levels that you've got with people in the village. So you remember one of those tasks from the village postbox was to get everybody to a level 1. I think there's something similar in Stardew, isn't there? At the start of it, you have to go around and sort of get everybody to a level 1. So again, very similar mechanic taken from, or Stardew Valley took from this sort of game. And your monsters here, we're going to go and have a look at the monsters in a minute, but this is your friendship level with your monsters or beasts. And then we've got some very basic options. There's not much in the options there. So talking of beasts, let's go here. We had this, let's unequip our sickle. We had this beast barn or animal creature barn built for us. Now this is where we keep any monsters that we tame. So when you go out and attack or go exploring outside of the village and you go on the sort of dungeon crawling parts, you can actually give the monsters out in the village certain items, and then they will come back to your farm and they will be part of your farm. You can feed them. You've got a bin here. That's what I was talking about, fodder. So if we go and do that now, this here is fodder. I don't think it's fully grown yet, actually. I don't know if we've got any in our inventory. Let's have a look. But basically, the animals eat fodder that you grow in the garden. Hopefully, I haven't sold any. I don't think I've got any in my inventory. Oh, here's some fodder. Right, okay, so we've got some. So we just grab hold of that, chuck it in the bin, and you can see there's now 6 inside there. So that's what the animals will eat. As long as they've got fodder in it, they will be compliant and happy. Don't know how many animals this barn holds, but what you can do with them, this one's called Woofty, you can assign it chores in the field, so you can start to automate some of your farming processes, or you can bring along with you to an adventure, so they help out with your combat. You can send it, release it back into the forest, or do nothing. You can change the name of it. See if we can assign it a field chore. We have to build up his XP level, his friendship level, before we can do anything like that. So let's leave him for a day or two. Bottom left hand corner, we've got a map. We can zoom in on that, and this changes dynamically whenever we move to a new area. And the only other button that you really need to know is the minus button. This is where any requests that you take on from the postbox outside, they'll be stored here as like a reminder. So, have we got any other farming to do? Let's do some quick maintenance on the farm. Let's go back to our tools. We use our axe. And chop up these logs into, or twigs into lumber. Scoop those up and chuck them in our lumber bin. We're going to need that for when we get to crafting. Not even unlocked crafting yet. We'll grab that stone. I think we'll probably just sell that stone. Another log here to chop. This is a bit of a bigger one. Should give us plenty of lumber. 9 bits, I believe. Just running around with this lumber. Chuck it in the box. These plants are still growing. What we got? Potatoes. Some flowers. That's all good. That's a bamboo sprout. I don't think we can actually do anything with that. Hopefully they're just going to grow into bamboo. Now these rocks you can break up with a massive hammer. And they will give you material stone. And each sort of rock will give you something different. You may see some really different coloured stones out if we go out past the village. And they will give you different materials like iron. Oh, they're disappearing. Yeah, so give you like iron or coal. In you go, into the box. I need to get some grass in the fertilizer box. Now it's a really good system with the fields. Their usage, they've actually got their own XP level actually, but their usage will become lessened as the more you use them to grow stuff. They will grow weaker and weaker crops until they're rested or have fertilizer put on them. Now you need an item that I haven't got yet. You need a magnifying glass, and then once you've got that, you can actually see the level of the field. At the minute, we can only guess because I've grown some crops here. I've kind of shifted my plantations over a couple of squares and leaving these ones to rest. But so when you get the magnifying glass, you can actually see the level of the fields and the quality of the soil. If the soil's really well fertilised, then you get better crops and a better chance of getting special items dropped and stuff, seeds and that kind of thing. So let's see if we've got any grass that we can chuck in the composter. Hopefully we can just chuck some green grass in. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully, I don't know if that automatically composts the grass or we have to do something. But there we go. Right. We've got one more rock and we'll just chuck that in our backpack. So let's have a quick look around the castle. We've already seen where the dragon lives. Not that many rooms. When you first start the game, I mean like any sort of RPG game, you're going to get lost quite a lot. But after a couple of hours, you can really find your way around. One really cool thing I like is there's these dungeon or underground parts of the castle. And a lot of stuff, like these are like trophies or achievements. So when you do things for the first time, you get these little achievements you can show off. If you go down another level, you've got stuff that you've caught. So these are all fishing trophies. What's this one up here? Illustration. Oh, we'll come to that in a sec. And more trophies at the bottom here of stuff that I've caught when fishing. So it's like 3 basement levels basically. I won't click into this, I'll leave you to discover it yourself, but this illustration contest is like loads of actual fan art that people drew and sent in to the developers and publishers. And they've showcased it all here, so it's really interesting to flick through it. Some really cool drawings. They've put drawings in from children and stuff. And the actual characters in the game sort of comment on the pictures. Really cool feature. It does go on a bit. Probably takes about 5 minutes to get through it, but really worth having a look. Really cool feature. We've got a box here that we built for storage. I should probably chuck some stuff in it, but we won't bother with that right now. But you can build these boxes at any time. Save point is here, diary, and then when you want to end the day, just go to bed. So quite standard in these sort of games. One other feature in the castle while we're here is this board here, the order board. Now what this is you earn certain amounts of prince points, or princess points if you decide to be a princess, when you do good things in the town. So when you help people out, or you're just friendly to people, or you take on jobs, you earn these points, and you can spend these points on improving the town. So we can arrange a festival to like cheer the people up. We can create new shops. So we can upgrade the townsfolk shops from there. It can develop things, so this is where you increase the size of your backpack and stuff. So all of this kind of thing, there's been like new things added to this. This is just going to keep growing, but another really cool mechanic. And they sort of explain it away at the start. You know, your character says, you know, what gives me the right to sort of change all these things. And basically they say, you know, the more good you do for the people, the more they trust you to change their town. So it's a really nice, nicely explained, and a really cool mechanic as well. So let's have a quick look around the rest of the town. Oh, we've got a little cutscene here.
What's going on?
I'll skip through this because I don't want to show too much of the story off. Okay, we're back. What this is the town hospital, and the main part of the story so far is that we have to go off and fight. I've done 2 bosses so far, and they're basically creatures, like forest creatures. But when you take them out, they, well, I don't want to spoil too much really, but they sort of turn back into human form. That's the sort of mystery of the game, is why are these humans turning into beasts in the forest. So the last one that we defeated here is Run Off. So we've got to try and find him. But we'll do that on the way around the town. Zoom in on the map here so we can see where we are. Down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map at the fishing lake. So we can do a spot of fishing. We can bring up our tools. Get our cheap fishing pole. Fishing's a lot like Animal Crossing, so not as complicated as Stardew Valley. If there's one thing in Stardew Valley, I absolutely love that game, but I hate the fishing with a passion. It is just so annoying. So I much prefer sort of the Animal Crossing system. All the fish have gone away now, but basically you cast your rod out, fish come up and have a nibble, and then they'll bite onto your line, and then you can just press the B button to reel them straight in. Really simple and really easy to do, so that's cool. We'll just get rid of the fishing pole because there's no fish there. Right. Where should we go? Let's get the map back up.
Good evening.
So you can talk to any of these villagers or townsfolk.
Yep.
Some will trigger cutscenes, but whenever you speak to them, you always improve their friendship level. You can give them items as well. This is someone's place. You notice the loading times as well. There's virtually none. It's really, really impressive. It's just such a game that just flows so nicely because there's just, you know, no loading scenes. They're just almost instant. So something strange is happening in the town centre. So let's see what we can do. What can we ship? I wonder if we've got a turnip that we can ship. Well, let's do this quest. Get rid of monsters. So we write it down, and then we get a little detail about the quest. Basically, we need to go and get rid of 7 woolies, which are like sheep creatures. So here we are outside the castle grounds. We can do a little bit of foraging. All right here. Weapons. Let's bring up a weapon. I've collected a few so far. We've got a spear, sort of gloves that you can do hand-to-hand combat with, a shield and a battle axe. I think we'll go with the axe. And we've got to find ourselves some woolly sheep. There's one. There he goes. So that's 1. Looks like the game's going to remind us, which is cool. Ooh. Right, that spinning thing there is like a portal, and that will spew enemies out while it's still on the map. And that woolly's dropped some fur, so we'll grab that. Get those bamboo sprite shot. As you might be able to tell, combat so far is quite straightforward, not being challenged too much. I am on the easiest difficulty level as well. I normally play these games on easy difficulty levels just so I can get through as much as I can. Probably will try and we'll try it on higher skill level. While we're here, let's do some mining, and that will bring up something I need to discuss. In the top left-hand corner there, you see we've got the green bar, which is health points, and the blue bar is rune points. And basically everything you do in the game costs you rune points. So mining will cost rune points, combat will cost rune points, farming costs rune points. When that runs out, when your rune points run out, you can still do stuff, but then it starts to take health off of you. When you know, the same amount it would have taken in rune points, it takes in health. So you've got to be really careful about how much you do. Can't pick those rune flowers. We'll take these medicinal herbs though. Some more chests to open. Oh, look, there's another farm. Oh, a little bit clunky sometimes picking up stuff. For some reason I didn't want to pick all those up. Come on, go. So we've got some clay here. I think that's the first time we've found clay. I think. So here we are, I found another little farm. That is super interesting. So I think we won't do that now, but we'll come back, clear all this up, and use this as a secondary farm. That's awesome. We're going to concentrate on getting rid of these woolies for now. Let's switch back to our axe. I would say the UI could be better. Like you could. I prefer to be able to like switch weapons on the fly. And if anyone knows if you can do that, please let me know. But I've not been able to do it. We need to get down there to get rid of that portal because it's going to keep spewing enemies out. Enemies do reset when you move from screen to screen, so as we work our way back here there's going to be a similar amount of enemies. They've got magic as well, just by pressing the Y button, or you can assign it to whatever button you want. I'll assign that to the Y button. Stick, we don't need that. There's another woolly. So we could technically just keep going on and off of this screen. Two more woolies. Now this was as another sort of area through there. You can save. There's save points that are dotted around quite liberally in the world as well. This should complete the quest to get rid of these woolies. So now we have to go and report back to whoever gave the quest or the post box, whatever it tells you to do. Collect some minerals while we're here. Hope you're enjoying this so far. Anyway, it's a great game. It really is. As I say, this isn't a review. I may not even get to review it because of the size of it, but I just absolutely love this game. I'm a big fan of Stardew Valley, and I think if you like Stardew Valley and you've not played this before, you are going to be absolutely over the moon with this game. I'll get rid of my... Oh, can't unequip the hammer. Fine. Right, so let's report back to the post box. Completed the request. Well done. Here's the reward. So we get a chest. And we've got a power. I'll show you that. Right, we've got no more slots left on our inventory. So let's get rid of something. Let's swap. Let's get rid of these rocks because they're useless. Let's put the rocks in their hands. And then we can chuck those on the floor. So yeah, anyway, we got the request done. Probably not going to be able to do any more. Have we got a turnip? Let's have a look, see if we've got a turnip in our inventory. You can also get to inventory by pressing L. It's on that bottom row. So if you want to like use a potion or eat something, you can just use that bottom row. I don't think we've got a turnip, so we're not going to be able to do that last task. So we're not going to take that on. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock now. And there's the person we were looking for. So we just skipped through that story. I didn't want to spoil anything too much. Just to get back to our room here. Let's have one quick look at the farm. Make sure everything's okay. It's fine. That will keep till the morning. So what we do is we can save and then go to bed. And that's one day in Rune Factory. We did do quite a lot in that day. Some days go quicker than others. And then we sleep to recover to the next day. get some energy back. And that's Rune Factory. So hopefully that overview has given you a good look around the main elements of the game. Say combat on the easiest levels, quite basic. They don't fight back, so I'm probably going to up that a little bit to normal. The boss fights I've had in particular, they were quite static, although the last boss did get a lot trickier towards the end. But yeah, I'm just want to enjoy the story and get through the game really, but it's so good. As I say, Stardew Valley, a little bit of Animal Crossing, a little bit of Dragon Quest, all those sort of games. If you like anything in that sort of genre, you're going to absolutely love this. Really good price as well. As I say, it's $40, £33, excellent price for a game this size, and I think this is going to be the perfect filler game before Animal Crossing hits in 2 or 3 weeks. But there you go. If you've got any questions or anything, leave them below if you want me to help with anything. As I say, this is out today if you're in America, but unfortunately guys in the UK and Europe have to wait until Friday unless you've got an American account. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it, and give me a subscribe if you're new here. Always appreciate that. Thanks a lot, and yeah, I will leave it there and catch you all on the next video. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.